Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unpacking Possibility. I'm your host, Traci Stein, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to the multi-talented, very accomplished, and lovely Jill Shinderman. I'll read you a little bit of her bio, but during our interview time together, you're going to get to know her even better. So Jill is a writer, she's an advocate and a thought leader. She's so passionate about improving outcomes and access, education and justice relevant to the health and well-being of children and families. She is interested in creating change and societal shifts and systems and structures through research-based creative content, some of which we'll talk about today, that supports healthy interactions across generations and moves humanity forward. She's a publisher with a conscience as well, and we'll get to that in a bit. So Jill is currently helming a boutique publishing venture, Barclay Square Books, a line of evidence-based children's books, and they're designed to cultivate healthier attachment, enrich parenting practices, and improve community connection and collaboration across the entire ecosystem of a child's life, their home, school, community, and the wider world. Jill was also an executive producer and writer for the award-winning PBS Kids series, Splash and Bubbles, a science-based digital puppetry comedy, inspiring kids to connect with and care about the ocean. And Jill is often known for her remarks, empower the parent, inspire the child. So welcome, Jill.
Hi. Hello. It's so lovely to be here and to meet you and to talk with you more about, I'm sure, a lot of really common visions and values and things that we're passionate about.
Absolutely. And I'm not even sure where we should start because there's so much. I know that you have recently released a book that you co-created with, I'm going to call it, you included as the A-team of children's book creators, and it's called Bunny to Bunny. It's gorgeous, and I will put a photo of it up on social media so people can see it better. But you actually have a very long history of working as an advocate for better attachment and parenting and just kind of making the world a better place. So I'm wondering if you want to talk a little bit about your journey.
Sure. Sure. It'd be my pleasure. I think a lot of people have a similar kind of aha moment when they're 10, 11, 12 years old, when they realize that they want to make the world a better place, make the world a place where everyone, every living creature is thriving and has their needs met. And so at like the ripe old age of around 11, I was always the one in my backyard writing plays and writing shows and inviting all of my friends to come and perform them, basically, and with the hope that it will make the world a better place. But it was really, that's just always been my passion, is to write for children and families and communities. And when I went off to college, I majored in theater and education with an emphasis on reading and language development, and really kind of started to be curious about how learning happened, how connections were facilitated, and what the role of the larger community was in forming those connections, cultures, the sense of caring, and that curiosity across the community, across cultures and families. And so inspirations for me were the work of Margaret Mead and the work of Bell Hooks. And they were things that were so resonant toward what I wanted to do, and what I felt I just needed to do. I would eat, breathe, and sleep it. So after graduation, I had a wonderful opportunity to work at the Los Angeles Children's Museum. And Los Angeles is a beautifully diverse city, and it's huge. I mean, 13 million people. It is tremendous, not only geographically, but just in the population. And the Children's Museum was a place where everyone came to play. no matter where, if you were from the, whether you were from South Central or East LA or the West Side or Malibu or wherever, you came to play at the Children's Museum. And so I was very fortunate enough to work there, and also to work with the artistic director at the time, Candace Barrett, on creating their Readers Theater program, which was really bringing literature to life and creating language development, opening doors curriculum for the pieces of literature that we were performing on stage. And it was great. It was very simple sets, a small cast. We had music, we had costumes, just fun costumes that we would put on top of our normal jumpsuit costumes that had the alphabet all over it. But it was really, it was a wonderful experience, and it was funded at the time by Verizon, and then we continued funding it. I'm happy to say that the program actually outlasted the actual space that the museum was in, and it ran for about 25 years. And then from there, once I saw the impact of what we were doing on the stage, I thought, I'm really curious about other mediums and other genres. How do you create meaningful content for children and families that is on the television, in animation, live action? What is it that goes into that children's content that makes it joyful and resonate, and that kids want to tune in for 80 episodes, 6 years down the line? And so I had a wonderful opportunity to work at a real creative boutique animation company called Matinee Entertainment. And at the time, it was in the early 90s, and it was when animation studios, small animation studios were at their height. They were really creative shops. You were working with all the best talent, the most talented writers and artists and producers. And it was just a really exciting time. And we had development deals with every network in town, whether it was, at the time, it was ABC and Fox and Disney and NBC and CBS and UPN. I mean, there were all of these people that we could find homes for our shows.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was in a really exciting time, a very creative time, and I learned a ton about the business, and I learned a ton about production and how to make a show. And it was funny because I had an opportunity to move from Matinee Entertainment to Disney, and then to Nickelodeon, to work in development for TV animation. At the time, it was Disney's One Saturday Morning block of programming, and then Nickelodeon. It was at the golden age of Nickelodeon, when they were doing Hey Arnold and Rugrats and Dora, and SpongeBob was just introduced, and so it was a really, really exciting time at that studio as well. And it was funny because I was always the one running to our development meetings, championing the latest and greatest picture book, or middle grade series, or even at the time, there were very few graphic novels, but graphic novels were in existence in the 90s. And so I would be coming to the table saying, we have to do a series out of this, and this is so meaningful, and these are the reasons why, and here's the research on it. And because of my education background, I was always a big research nerd and an armchair scientist, and that's something that I get really excited about. And I was also always the one championing the curricular aspects for every show that we were working on. And so when I left Nickelodeon in the early 2000s, I decided that it was time for me to kind of put up my little sign on my door and really start to create content that was really in the mission and vision of everything that I lived, ate and breathed. And that was, let's really make sure that this content, books, television series, is grounded in the research, grounded in the science, that it's a way to bring the science out of the lab and into the hands and hearts of children and families. So that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
It's such an incredible journey because you knew so early on. And I feel like the people who are passionate from that early on and really follow that path, they're really doing what they are meant to, and they're that much better at it because it is so much a part of them. And that's just the sense I get from everything you've just said.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel that there there was no other road. This was the road that I was placed on. And every single person in my life who I've encountered has really, I've learned so much from them. And they've kind of shepherded me along, whether it was someone at a television network or whether it was my great Aunt Helen and Uncle Bill, who always taught me to be curious and to stay curious and to get to know a person's story. And also, even through the work of my dad is a huge community advocate and advocate for education. And really, I mean, he instilled in me just, everyone deserves to thrive. Everyone deserves to have their needs met. And how can we do that? And so I feel, yeah, it almost as if like it wasn't a choice, but I didn't even need it to be a choice, because it just kind of happens, and it kind of grows. And what's really exciting is it continues to grow, and I learn every day working with the most incredible constellation of scientists and nonprofit organizations and talented authors and artists and writers. It's a really beautiful village that we have at Berkeley Square.
Yeah, I mean, and I took a look at the website, and I was just really blown away. I mean, there's so much, not only heart, but expertise clearly behind what you do. And, with the experience and the background you have, you could have just focused on how do we make the biggest profit. And that's not you. You really are the publisher with a conscience. Um,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, that's huge. And I have your book here again, Bunny to Bunny, and I have to tell you, when I read it, I was so moved. I mean, I could really feel, that softening in your heart when you read something that you really connect to. And I wasn't kidding when I said you are part of the dream team in a way, creating this book, because some people might pick it up and just say, wow, it's a beautifully written and beautifully illustrated, engaging book. But you did engage with early childhood experts and education experts, an incredible science writer. The illustrations are gorgeous, your rhymes are beautiful, and it's so subtle, but you can see that thread running through, where it's not just a pretty picture book. If it's okay, I'd like to read your first line
Sure,
in the book.
sure.
The title of this rhyme is also the title of the book, Bunny to Bunny, and it goes, "Who is this bunny looking into my eyes, sharing my gaze and all my surprise? Who is this little one, so curious, so new? Bunny to bunny, I am here, loving you." Um, it's so simple and so beautiful and so moving. Um, and your illustrations model what we hope people will parent like. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how the rhymes and how the illustrations can help foster better attachment and better parenting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for really allowing that and sharing how that affected you. And thank you. That's what we're hoping for. And we really, I did have the dream team on this book series, and we're hoping to do a series of 4 books. So this is the first one, and this is the first one to really kind of set that tone and to support parents and children and the important grown-ups in their life, whether it's a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, or even an older sibling, or a teacher or a librarian, anybody in that child's life, to kind of give them the support to connect. And so we really, from the book arose out of what was called the Learning Sciences Exchange. And it is a wonderful fellowship program that's sponsored by the Jacobs Foundation.
And you were the first fellow.
Yes, we were. Yes, me and my cohort of 3 other people, we were the first class of fellows, and now they are in class 3. In fact, I'm on the committee reading applications right now from all over the world, and so it's so beautiful to see how this program has expanded and grown so fast. And I love the global component to it. I think it's so important, especially when you're talking about the health and well-being of children and families. So we set out on this adventure. My team, our researcher on the team is Dr. Megan McClellan, and she's out of Oregon State University. And our science journalist is a young woman named Kat DeLange, and she is the head of feature, actually she's now the editor of New Scientist magazine. She was head of features, and I think she's just recently become the editor of the publication. And Jana Panka, who is from Berlin, and she is a tremendous force in early childhood curriculum from a science and exploration and discovery perspective. And the organization that she works for, Klein Foster, is the leading curriculum provider in Germany for all of I think there are 13 provinces. So they work with preschool and elementary schools in providing their science curriculum. So we really had an all-star team, and our hearts are all in books. And so we came together with the idea of, well, let's create a series that is based upon the research, but that allows children and their grown-ups to find those meaningful moments, to take a breath and to connect. And it's so simple. I mean, our tag is, it's as easy as picking up a book. It's as simple as picking up a book, because the rhymes, we really wanted them to be accessible and to be tangible, whether you are living in a village in Africa, whether you're in the South, in the North, in the East or the West, the middle of the country, wherever you are, whether you're in Europe, but wherever you are in the world. And we were fortunate enough to translate it in Spanish as well. So we do have a Spanish version of it. And we looked at every single rhyme, every single word choice. Our illustrator is an incredible illustrator in the UK. Her name is Emily Snape, and she's such a warm and lovely human in general. But her illustrations really were able to take the rhymes and to, as you had said, really kind of create what the personification of that rhyme would look like. And that's the idea. That the idea is to support parents in fostering that meaningful moment and that connection, that curiosity, and that ability to care that opens doors for children in their earliest moments of life. Because that's the most important thing. That's what the research is showing. That's not only what the anthropology and human development research shows, but the neuroscience as well. And we took into all of those factors as we were creating the book.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important that you're clearly so cognizant of that, and that's clearly woven through this book. But one of the things I especially appreciated about it is not only is it so psychologically sound, but as you mentioned, anyone can pick it up and get what they need and want to from it. And it can be very implicit. Somebody doesn't have to know anything about attachment theory or child development and can get the feeling of what they're supposed to get out of this, and how they ideally want to parent, and how they ideally want to connect with their child from this.
And so glad you said that, because you're absolutely correct. And our intention was, we did not want to be prescriptive. We didn't want to be scripted or prescriptive, or feel like we were spoon feeding anybody, because that's the thing. As a parent, you want to feel empowered, and you want to feel supported, that you've got this, that you have, you've got this, you can do this. And it's hard, and it's uncertain, and there are definite high points, and there are definite low points. But we wanted to really empower parents and give them the support and the confidence they need to interpret and use the rhymes and the illustrations and the book in any way they can, in any way that feels natural and comfortable for them.
Yeah, it's just, it's beautiful. I keep picking up the book, as you can see, and I think that's what your readers will do as well. Because as I know that there's this theme of love, listen, learn throughout this book. And as I was looking at the illustrations and reading the rhymes, one of the things that struck me was that in each page, you're experiencing through these beautiful characters and lovely rhymes different ways to attune very naturally to your child. The eye gaze, the paying attention, the physical touch, the joyfulness. And, I think generally parents do the best they know how to do. And it's never just going to be a completely straight line type of trajectory. It's good, people have ups and downs, people have hard days and easier days, but everybody also isn't raised with the same parenting. And so for many of us, if we didn't have very attuned parents for whatever reason, maybe they were really overstretched, or maybe their parents weren't, as warm and attuned as they could have been, it can feel like an opportunity for failure. I imagine when you have a newborn and you're learning how to be with your child as you're also dealing with your exhaustion and maybe 100 other things going on. And again, I feel like somebody reading this book, it's osmotic, almost like just by turning the pages, on multiple levels, you take in how you can move with ease into being just lovingly attuned to your child. And I just think it's so great, because you're absolutely right. It's not prescriptive, and it didn't need to be effective.
Thank you. And that's one of the things that we're really proud of, and hoping to even lean in more toward on books 2, 3, and 4. Especially as a child and their grown-up grow together, because that's really what it is. It's a growing together series. And so you don't have to read the rhymes in order. It's so small, you can put it in your pocketbook and take it with you. And if you just need a moment to be there with your child, you can take it out, and hopefully at a certain point, the rhymes become so natural that they're just already on the tip of your tongue. And that's even something that we're curious about. We're curious about how it's used. We're looking at some of the data and the research that comes out of that too, with our nonprofit partners, which we're so delighted to have the book distributed by First Book, which is a huge national early literacy and learning and child development organization. So we are working with First Book, we're working with Child 360, and we're also working with 0 to 3. And so we have pretty much almost the three most prominent nonprofit partners in the country who are working on getting these books into the hands of children and families and pediatricians and home visit caretakers and In fact, Child 360, as part of their dual language learner curriculum, was able to fund or we were able to fund through the Jacobs, but through them we were able to do the Spanish translation of the book. And because California is pretty much a blueprint for the rest of the country with regards to multilingual families and the importance of that. We really felt honored to be able to contribute to the Dual Language Learner Initiative in the state and publish in Spanish as well. And so to what you're saying, that attunement, that, I really, it's interesting. I really believe, well, here's a funny story actually. Because just to your point of, parenting doesn't come with a manual, it doesn't come with anything. And I'll never forget. So we have one daughter. She is now off in college. And when she was born, we were in the hospital for about 5 days. And when we were being discharged, the nurse came in and said to my husband and I, okay, so did you guys write the video? Did you guys watch the video? And like she has her clipboard because she has to check the box that we watched the video. And my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, what video? We had no idea there was a video. Yeah, there's a video on how to raise your child. I'm like, wait a second, we were supposed to read this? She's like, okay, well, I got to clear the room and you guys have to go. So I'm just going to mark the box and off you go.
Oh my God.
Off we went with our little angel in the back seat in the car seat. And I sat there with her and we sang to her all the way home because we wanted to connect. And, we weren't really, we were just in this element of, okay, here we have this little bundle and what are we going to do? And we literally sang to her all the way home amidst tears sometimes because but it was so funny because it's like, we don't know what we're doing. And everybody feels that way. It's a universal, I don't know about you, but I don't know any parent that's like, yeah, I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm always a little concerned when people feel like they've got everything completely perfect.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the P word, the perfect word, just remove that from the table, remove that from your plate. And that's really what we hoped to accomplish too with this book series, is that it really is just so simple. These rhymes are hopefully just simple and connectable, relatable. You can, we try to, you can say them on the beach, you can say them when you're doing a diaper change, you can, you can carve out that space in only a matter of minutes, because that's really what it takes. It's quality, not necessarily length of time. And so if you can spend 3 minutes, 5 minutes in your busy lives, because parenting is busy, whether you are a working parent, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, whether you're in a household that again has other caregivers and other grown-ups, important grown-ups in a child's life. And that's again where I always go back to and take my cue from some of these cultural anthropologists and some of the research that has come out of developing communities all over the world, how children and families function together, how they care for each other, how they connect for one another, and how they derive joy together. And that's something that also throughout the book we've tried to weave. It's that playfulness and that joy, and just kind of setting the environment for that healthy interaction. Because I think it's just so important, no matter where you are in your life, to always have those elements of play and joy try and come through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just such a beautiful book. I'm looking forward to seeing the others as they get birthed into being at the right time. But tell us, Jill, where or how people could get a copy of Bunny to Bunny.
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. We are exclusively a part of the 0 to 3 e-commerce store, and I think because it's spring, they're currently working on a hop into spring with Bunny to Bunny, and so it should be available. I'm hoping it should be available in the next couple of weeks. To purchase. In fact, I just got an email today of a school district in the Midwest that is interested in purchasing them, and so we're super excited and delighted about how the word is out there, and it's really seems to be something that people are really looking forward to and excited about. So we're hoping. So 0 to 3 will be the place that they can purchase them. Absolutely.
Wonderful. And I'll put that in the show notes as well. And where can people find out more about you and your work?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. So,
Or Barclay
um,
Media.
Barclay Square Media. So,
Barclay Square Media.
and Barclay Square Books in particular, because what I'm focusing on as an impact publisher is other nonprofit partners, other organizations that have a story to tell, that have an impact, that have something that they are doing in their programming and in their curriculum that they want to bring out of the science books and out of the research world and academia, and make it more relatable and tangible for all of us lay people, because that's what's needed. There's so much valuable research happening and important research happening right now with regards to early childhood, middle school, adolescence. I mean, in the work that you do, and that's, I'm so excited too to learn more too about the work that you are doing over at the Mind Body and Institute, right? At
Spirituality, Mind Body Institute.
Thank you. I'm yeah, and I just think there's so much that can be translated from the important work that so many brilliant people like yourself are doing, and it needs to be out there. It needs to be tangible. It needs to be accessible. You know, so as a publisher, I'm excited about these partnerships that I'm working on for other books and other imprints and other series that follows in these tenets of curiosity, care, and connection, and having it be grounded in the research. So it's interesting. It reminded me, you had mentioned the love, listen, and learn tenet of Bunny to Bunny. And that's something too, we call them our carrot tips of the different categories of love, listen, and learn. And it's not prescriptive for parents. It's again, as the parent and the child, or the caregiver and the child, the grown up and the child, are growing together. They're learning how to love, they're learning how to listen and respond and be responsive. And then they're also learning how to learn and stay curious. Because I think that's also something, as we look at where our country is going, where different educational communities throughout the world are going, we're really kind of looking at how does the learning happen and what's the ideal environment and for learning to start to happen. That's meaningful, because learning is different for everybody. And that's something too. And we hoped to, through our books, through Bunny to Bunny, we hope to also really honor and respect the diversity in learning and the diversity in experiences too.
Well, I love it. And I am so glad you carved out some time from your busy schedule today to talk about your work and the book. And it's clear you have such a passion for making the world a better place. And I feel so excited that I got to learn from you today. So, Jill, thank you again. And I'm sure our paths will cross again, because I want to pick your brain a little bit more about all of your terrific work.
I hope our paths cross again. I am so excited, and I'm in New York all the time, so so I'm happy to connect with you in person, and it's really, yeah, I just think the work that you're doing is so exciting and so meaningful. And I've actually said to my daughter, who's at Columbia, I'm like, you should run up there. She has a class right there over at Teachers College. You should go up there.
We'll make a coffee date.
Exactly. So, but no, it's really lovely to meet you and to connect with you and to have this conversation about just shared missions and visions, and you know, it's an important time in the world right now with everything going on, and I'm so excited uh, to work with the people that I work with. I feel so lucky, and just really it's a dream come true, and I'm learning every day.
Oh, thank you again for coming on, Jill. And this has been another episode of Unpacking Possibility. If you enjoy the episode, please make sure to like, share, and follow, and check out Jill Shinderman and Barclay Square Media and this beautiful book, Bunny to Bunny. And until next time, be well.